The Delphi Murders, a tragic search for justice. Two best friends go for a walk on a warm February afternoon in Delphi, Indiana. They laugh, they explore, they capture moments on Snapchat. It's the kind of day any teenager might have. But for 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, February 13th, 2017 would be the last day of their lives. Their murders shocked a small town and gripped the nation. For years, investigators were haunted by the grainy image of a man on a bridge and the chilling audio clip of his voice saying, "Guys, down the hill." We waited for answers, we hoped for justice, and finally, in 2022, there was an arrest. But as the trial of Richard Allen unfolded, new details emerged. Details more disturbing than we imagined. This is the story of the Delphi murders, the crime, the investigation, the arrest, and the painful road to truth.
Reveals startling new details about the 2017 murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. According to documents obtained first by the Murder Sheet podcast and then provided to CBS 4, an FBI agent wrote that she had probable cause to search the home of the property owner where those girls' bodies were.
We begin at 5 o'clock with stunning new revelations in the Delphi murders. It's a story we first broke for you on TV and online this morning.
iTeammate has obtained court documents that, for the first time, publicly describe the scene where those murders took place, what was taken from the scene, and a potential early suspect in the case. iTeammate's Demi Johnson.
It's this 9-page request for a search warrant filed March 17th of 2017. Now that's a little more than a month after Libby German and Abby Williams were found murdered in Delphi.
The agent writes, a large amount of blood was lost by the victims at the crime scene. Because of the nature of the victim's wounds, it is nearly certain the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood on his person or clothing. Authorities also found that 2 articles of clothing from one of the girls was missing from the crime scene, while the rest of their clothing was recovered. It also appeared the girls' bodies were moved and stained.
On the morning of February 13th, 2017, Libby German and Abby Williams were dropped off near the Monon High Bridge Trail by Libby's sister. It was a day off school, and the girls wanted to enjoy the unseasonably warm weather by hiking the trails and taking photos. By that evening, when the girls hadn't returned to the pickup spot, panic set in. On February 14th, 2017, just one day after the girls disappeared, a search team made up of local volunteers, included family and community members, were combing the woods near the Monon High Bridge. That's when they found them. Abby and Libby's bodies were discovered in the wooded area near Deer Creek, about half a mile from where they were last seen. It was a moment that shattered any remaining hope and changed the community of Delphi. And it explained why this case had remained so sensitive and so guarded for years. What made the case even more chilling was that Libby, in the moment of extraordinary courage, had the presence of mind to record the suspected killer on her phone. A grainy photo of a man walking on the bridge, a short audio clip, "Guys, down the hill." That small recording became the heart of the investigation and the voice that haunted Delphi. For years, the trail went cold. There were press conferences, sketches, and theories. Tips came in from across the country, but no arrests. The community lived in fear. Parents didn't let their kids out of sight, and the families of Abby and Libby woke up every day with no answers. Then, in October 2022, nearly 6 years later, came the shocking announcement. A man named Richard Allen had been arrested and charged with the murders of Abby and Libby. Allen wasn't an outsider. He lived in Delphi. He worked at the local CVS. He had developed photos for families, possibly even the victims. His name had reportedly been mentioned earlier in the investigation, but for unknown reasons, it didn't lead to action until now. The arrest affidavit revealed disturbing claims that Allen had been on the bridge the day of the murders and had admitted as much in interviews. Investigators allegedly found a .40 caliber unspent bullet near the girls' bodies. It matched a gun registered to Allen. In court, the prosecution painted a grim picture, a man who had lived among the community, hiding in plain sight. Allen's defense raised questions that cast the case into even darker and more bizarre territory. His attorneys suggested that the murders were not random, but ritualistic. They argued that the members of a pagan cult, allegedly participating a form of Odinism, had staged the crime scene with symbols and 3 branches. They claimed Allen had been manipulated into confessing after suffering extreme psychological distress in prison. The defense alleged that Allen had made strange and unverified admissions while being kept in isolation, deprived of basic necessities. Photos of his deteriorating condition in jail were submitted as evidence, sparking national concern about inmate treatment. But to the families, the focus never changed. This wasn't just about legal strategy. It was about Abby and Libby, 2 girls full of life, curiosity, and promise, robbed of everything in the most brutal way imaginable. Libby loved science and softball. Abby loved art and nature. They were inseparable, and because of Libby's quick thinking, their killer's image and voice lived on, becoming the very clues that would one day lead to justice. This case isn't over. Legal battles continue. The trial has been delayed, motions filed, and the defense's claim about ritualistic motives remain controversial and unproven. But one thing is clear: the truth is finally being dragged into the light. The Delphi murders aren't just a true crime story. They're a tragedy that changed the town forever. Abby and Libby should be here today. They should be graduating, falling in love, chasing dreams. Instead, their families are left with memories and a mission. They fought for justice, endured false leads and long silences, and stood firm in the face of darkness. Because the world should never forget what happened in Delphi. If you were moved by this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep telling these stories. Let's keep remembering the names behind the headlines. Abby Williams, Liberty German, always remembered and never forgotten on the path to justice.